Okay, so today, November 10th, 2022, I want to talk about nutrition. I usually shy away from nutrition. It's such a controversial topic. It's almost up there with politics and religion. Uh, and frankly, I think a lot of the science on it is still out there. I think we'll find out new things, but I just want to talk about a couple of things that I'm pretty darn sure about. In other videos I've talked about, reserving the right to be full of it, if you will, and keeping my options open, basically saying I do things because this is the evidence that makes the most sense to me. So one of the things, though, that I definitely see is an issue. Something I'm going to give credit here to the source, which is Ted Naiman. He's the author of the PE diet. It's P:(E) stands for protein: energy. And his premise is that you should have at least half of your calories from protein and the other half being from energy being either fat or carbohydrates. And the exceptions to that, basically, especially if you're trying to lose fat. And there may be exceptions to that where people who are very active, people who are runners and things like that, or certain athletes that are really, really active can afford to have a different energy level. Now, I think a lot of things in the book make sense. The way he explains it makes sense. I endorse the book is a good read. I don't agree with his views on exercise because he does advocate exercising every day. But anyways, today that's not what I want to talk about. One of the things that I want to talk about in the book that he points out is that foods that have this combination, fat and carbs together in the absence of protein, and these are almost always processed foods, or else we add them together, because in nature, if you think about it, these foods don't exist a whole lot. So for example, if you think of meat, you will have protein and fat in meat, various meat products to varying degrees depending how lean it is. If you think of most vegetables, you're going to have, with some exceptions to avocado and whatnot, you'll have carbs, some protein, but very little fat, things like avocados, olives, and things like that. When I say vegetables, I mean anything other than animal products, so it'd be fruit and vegetables. So typically what he's saying is foods that have fat and carbs together in the absence of protein. So think all baking, think potato chips, think all snack foods, think of all those cookies and things like that. He refers to that as I think it's the trifecta, which is protein, fat, fat and carbs and no protein. And those foods he refers to as almost addictive. And I'd say, I think of those foods as like alcoholic drinks. A, they can be very addictive. B, is not necessarily that you have to avoid those foods, but you have to be very careful with them because they are addictive. And just yesterday, what made me think of this is, yesterday I was trying my darndest to have a good day. My wife came home with a pizza, which is great. She didn't have time to cook. Some pizza, so I had some pizza. Now pizza, it seems like once you start, it's hard to stop. And then she made a fruitcake. Christmas is coming, and she had an issue with the way the fruitcake turned out. She's going to do it again, and said it didn't turn out the way I liked it. And I know she's really fussy, so I decided to try it. And basically it was very tasty, but without getting into details, I understood why she wanted to start over. But then immediately I went for another piece, because it's almost like you have one, you got to have the other. So those foods tend to be, first of all, they provide very little in the way of satiety. They seem to be foods that you just can't have. As a matter of fact, I think they're worse than alcohol in some ways and whatnot. So the one thing I'm pretty sure about is if you want to lose weight, be wary of and even avoid altogether foods that have that combination. In many cases too, those are also foods that are calorie dense, which means you don't have to eat very much of it in order to get full. So that's my thing for today. Protein, I'll do another one on why you need to get enough protein and why a lot more people than I originally thought are not getting nearly enough. Bye for now.